Howdy folks, welcome back. If you happen to be new, please subscribe while you're here. This is going to be a super fun video. I've been wanting to do something like this for a really long time, and I finally have the opportunity to do it. The whole point around this video is to kind of show how you can buy a cheap Sportster, put some of your own time into it, and some by maybe a lot of your own time and a little bit of money. One of the beauties of Sportsters is the parts are normally really cheap. The used stuff is super available. There's deals out there, and you can find projects just like this bike and do what I'm about to do to it on the cheap. And I'm going to show you exactly how much it cost. I saved some money by doing some wheeling and dealing, like the hardtail kit, and I'm going to go over all that, and I will do a breakdown at the end as far as what it actually cost me and then what it would cost if you paid full retail for all the parts and all that, and I'll show the difference. And my goal with this is give this motorcycle away. So yeah, let's talk about the bike. It is a 1995 Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200, and this is a really cool bike. I can't remember exactly how many miles are on it, but the backstory with this bike is a friend of mine was looking for a Sportster over the summer. Now, mind you, it's January, hence why I'm all bundled up. Even though it's California, it's like 40 in here right now. I got to start the heater. Anyways, a friend of mine was looking for a Sportster. He hit this dude up on Marketplace that had this listed with just 1, 2, 3, 4 for the price. In the ad, it said that it stopped running. Didn't know what was wrong with it. So a friend of mine was like, hey, how much would you take for it? The guy never got back to him. He ended up buying another bike, and out of the blue, months and months later, the dude hit him up and was like, I'll take $500 for it. So he hit me up because he already has a bike. So he was like, hey, do you want this thing? It's only $500. So I ended up talking to the guy, asked him all the usual questions like what happened, does it have a title, what's the DMV status. If you're outside of California, a thing in California is if you don't register your vehicle and you don't inform the DMV, it acquires fees, and the fees can be over $1,000. So when it comes to buying a used vehicle, it's something you have to be super important to ask and check on and all that. So the backstory, the guy said he was riding the bike on the freeway and it shut off and wouldn't turn over, wouldn't start, right? And he just parked it. Well, he let the DMV lapse, and then they got a letter in the mail, and his wife was freaking out, and he just wanted the bike out of his life. So he didn't know about the back fees, and we agreed to meet the next day. Well, the guy went on his own after work that day and paid the $300 back fees after I told him I'd give him $500 for the bike. So it was like insane. Like I said, the guy just really wanted to get rid of it, but you can find non-running bikes for $500. It's not unreasonable. The market is super soft right now, especially in the wintertime. I bought this a couple months ago, but right now prices are super down. So bikes like this, you can totally find. Now, as far as the engine, I did a video, and I'll link it below, about when I got this bike. I did get it running, but it sounds horrible. All right, well.
She's a runner.
Technically it runs. Technically it's probably blown up, too. Maybe needs a top end. It's awfully clacky. But it's not seized. So, there's that.
Oh yeah, that's real blown up.
I think at minimum, it's going to need a top end. We're going to tear into it and see. Worst case scenario, if the bottom end is bad, I have a complete Evo Sportster S, which comes with dual plug head, a little hotter cam. It's kind of the sporty version out of a 2001, I think it was, that I had picked up that had gotten hit in a parking lot. The bike only had 12,000 miles on it though, and the motor was fine. The rest of the bike wasn't as fine. If the motor on this thing is no good, we can always use that motor, but I would really like to use this motor. These bikes are not incredibly expensive to do top ends and that on, so we'll just have to dive in, and my wife's home from the store. So as I was saying before I unloaded groceries and had dinner, these things are not horribly expensive to rebuild the top end on. Parts are very available, and there's a lot of options for Harleys across the board, but especially Sportsters. A really common thing is the 1250 kit that they do for these. There's a one called the Hammer kit everyone really likes, but you can also just punch them out and do a larger piston pretty easy. We're just gonna have to pop the heads off of it and see what's going on inside, and we'll go from there. Another thing that I'm going to do to help offset the cost with the project, and I do this like all the time with other stuff, is we're going to be selling as many stock parts as we can. So the tank and the fenders, we'll sell those. The swing arm, maybe. We'll see the seat, backrest, all the little stuff that if we can sell it, we will. I have some plans for doing different wheels. That's like step 2 or 3. So step 1, I'm just going to take everything off that I can to keep it a roller while we're working on the motor, because I'm not ready to pull the motor out quite yet. I want to figure out what's going on with it first. Then we'll pull it out. It has to come out regardless to cut the frame. This kit that we're using, this is a Lowbrow Customs hardtail kit with their oil bag. So like I was saying, I did some wheeling and dealing, and I got this on trade. I traded a V-twin manufacturer Springer front end that I paid a few $100 for or whatever. And like I said, I'm going to go over all the cost stuff. This setup, I want to say the hardtail kit is $400-ish, and same with the oil tank. These kits are really straightforward, and we'll go over everything when we take it apart. I'm a huge fan of Lowbrow custom parts, so I'm really excited to use that, and we might use some other parts from them as well. We'll just have to see once we dive into it. This is, true chopper stuff as far as on a budget and making stuff work. Also, when it comes to choppers, there's a lot of different styles and all that, and everyone's entitled to like what they like. Me personally, I don't like the weathered, crusty, make your bike look as horrible as possible, oil leaks all over, barely running. That seems to be popular now with certain folks, and that's cool for them. I kind of like right and tight performance choppers. Obviously, we're taking away the rear suspension, so that's not really going in the right direction performance wise, but we will be upgrading the brakes, probably squeezing some more ponies out of the motor. As far as a chopper goes, good brakes, good power. You can still have a cool bike that functions well. But yeah, the super crusty stuff, I'm just like, I like riding bikes. I like putting a ton of miles on stuff. And those things, if the thing's held together with bubble gum, that's not going to be great. You're going to be working on it all the time on the side of the road. And then there's a whole nother extreme, the whole show bikes that don't run. Is it a motorcycle at that point? If it doesn't run, the motorcycle can't start, ride, and stop on its own. Is it still a motorcycle? I kind of don't think so. And I'm not saying that, all bikes should be able to go 200 miles without a fuel stop. No, but like, maybe 50, 60 for a show bike. I don't know. This thing's going to be able to do a lot more than that. My goal with this thing when it's done, if somebody wins it that lives across the country, they could fly out, hop on it, and ride it home. But if they don't want to do that, we're going to have shipping set up too. So yeah, let's dive into it, huh? Alrighty, I tried not to be too long-winded there, but that is the plan for the Sportster. This is episode 1. I don't know how many little episodes it's going to take to get this thing done. I'm going to guess at least a month or so. In the next episode, we are going to start tearing it down and digging into the motor to see what's going on with that. I just posted a thing on Instagram because, well, I have a lot of local folks around here that I know, and I've already sold the tin set. So we got to pull that off first things first, and then start getting some of these other stock parts listed so we can get some of our money back. And we'll keep on trucking. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you real soon on the next one.